Hey y'all, it's been a minute. It has been a minute since I have done a live. And what I'm cutting mushrooms. What I'm doing today is I'm making, I am imitating Tabitha Brown's recipe on mushroom bacon. Listen, I've done it several times, and every time I've done it, I have missed one of her ingredients, which is the maple syrup, and they've been fantastic either way. So I am doing that today because, and I'm gonna get to why I went back pretty much 100%. I mean, I'm not militant, but mostly plant-based because, and this recipe for this mushroom bacon, whew, listen, there's nothing like bacon, but if you're not eating meat and you want a BLT, and I love a BLT, and I have this beautiful heirloom tomato in the fridge right now. I know you're not supposed to put tomatoes in the fridge, but I bought it before I went out of town to work, and that, I mean, if I'm gonna eat it, I gotta put it in the fridge for a minute because it's not gonna last. But anyway, so for y'all who follow me, you know who I am, but for those of you who don't, my name is Dr. Andrea Christian Parks. I'm a board certified OBGYN, lifestyle medicine boarded, weight loss coach, specialist, and I want to start talking about something else new with y'all. And I think it needs to be discussed. I'm not sure how many of y'all have been having this conversation, but I want to talk about menopause. I want to talk about perimenopause. I want to talk about hormones, and I think there's a lot of discussion about that out there in the social media land and in the media period. And I just think there's not enough doctors actually out here talking about it, particularly those of us who actually know the data, the safety, the misinformation. I think there's a lot that is getting missed. A lot of us are out here working through perimenopause, menopause on our own, without a lot of support, without a lot of help. Some of our doctors, a lot of doctors. At some point, I'll get to why a lot of doctors really don't know a lot about hormone replacement therapy, or what's called now menopausal hormone therapy. But I really can't cover everything in one little live. But I think it's something we gotta talk about. We really do, because there's a whole generation of women who gutted it out and got through the menopausal transition without support. And I'm not 100% sure that we didn't do a major disservice to those women, to that whole generation. For those of you who don't know me, let me just give you this, some of my background. I'm 50. I turned 50 in 2025, and I am deep into the whole perimenopausal transition. And girl, aging is not for the weak. It is a lot, okay? And so I'm gonna throw this out. Hey, Sam, what's up? Oh, no. Well, I'm praying for you, Sam. Hang in there. Listen, this transition is a big deal. And I think for our generation, look, Gen X, loud and proud, we are watching our parents age. My mother is, well, okay, I'm not gonna say how old my mom is, because she comes from a generation where you don't tell your age, so I'm not gonna say it. But I'm watching, and I'm watching my mother-in-law and my stepmother-in-law. I'm watching that generation age, and I'm watching the challenges that they're facing. Mika, girl, that's right. We're not okay. Listen, this is a lot. But I think it doesn't have to be as bad as it has been, and as it is for a lot of us. And as a gynecologist, I prescribe hormones all through my career. I don't do office practice anymore. I'm doing hospital work now, mainly because I needed to make some space and some time to do some of the other things I want to do with my life, because you only get one chance, one way through this thing, you know? But all that being said, I feel like we got to talk about this whole menopause thing. So let's start with just some basics. Because I think I used to hear from patients all the time. I'm still working on these mushrooms, y'all. I am making this mushroom bacon. I don't know if we're gonna get through all this before the end of this live, but maybe I'll pop back on and show you what it looks like at the end. Anyway, so I used to have patients come into the office all the time and they'd be like, I don't know, I hit 40 and all of a sudden it's like the wheels fell off. Everything is wrong, everything hurts, everything's a mess. And like, you know, you've been through it, you know, like, yeah, exactly what happens. And it's hectic. Stuff that didn't used to hurt yourself rolling over in the bed at night, kind of shenanigans. The things that you used to eat that would work well for maintaining your weight, it doesn't work. And it is a whole, like, I don't want to say out of body experience, but you definitely feel like your body is not yours. It's not normal. Something is not right. And I think it's important to acknowledge that is the truth. There is change. There are changes going on. Here's what people don't know though. With the whole perimenopausal transition, let's define something. First of all, menopause is just the cessation or the stopping of periods. And generally that's diagnosed, looking back, saying someone hasn't had a period for 12 months, a full year, they are now menopausal. So it's like this hard line in the sand. You're either premenopausal, meaning everything before, like my 13-year-old is premenopausal, or you're postmenopausal. You've crossed that 12-month no period somewhere around age 50. Anything over 40 is normal, but this is why I don't do lives while I'm cooking, because I'm not multitasking very well here. Anyway, let me keep cutting these mushrooms. Menopause is this line in the sand having to do with periods. The thing is, what we don't talk about, haven't talked about enough, is that the symptoms of making this transition into menopause really is about a 10-year process. It happens well in advance of actually stopping periods. That's just kind of a mark that we have in medicine to say, okay, yeah, this person is postmenopausal. There's certain stuff that like for example, if you have abnormal bleeding after menopause, we should investigate that in a way that we may not prior to menopause. So, all that being said, menopause average 51. Could be before, could be after. But that's average. Now, the thing about it is some women, like I said, you could be in menopause at 45 if you stop your periods then. If you back up the transition, the numbers, if people are going through this transition for 10 years before they actually stop their periods, you could be starting perimenopause at 35. Nobody talking about that. So 35, 40, going into 50, 50 here, okay, 51, now periods have stopped. So what exactly are we experiencing? Let's talk about some of these symptoms, because I really do want people to know that there's some stuff that really has to do with what's happening in your body. And the main thing to understand is, even if you're still having periods, even if you're still having regular periods, there are hormonal changes that are happening, mainly that your estrogen levels are starting to come down. Are they down all the time? No. That's why some days you feel great, some days you feel horrible, because there's this huge roller coaster of hormones up and down, and they're very erratic and unpredictable. It can cause things that you notice that are obvious, like irregular periods, missed periods, spotting, all kinds of bleeding stuff. That can be. But also, there's other things. So, there are a lot of women who notice somewhere in the 40s, they start to have more anxiety. More diagnosis for depression. Some of that's hormone related. I'm not going to tell you every single time, someone feels anxious, oh, that's just your hormones. you should be seen. You should be evaluated. And if you need support from a medication standpoint for depression or anxiety, no problem. However, what's not being acknowledged by a lot of folks in the medical community is that some of that is hormone related. Perimenopause, one of the best ways I can describe it is puberty in reverse. Now, it's not exactly the same. And the reason why it's not exactly the same, and we have a lot of compassion for like a 13-year-old girl who is moods all over the place, emotions all crazy, rage, crying another time, want to be all hugged up with mom one minute and then can't stand you the next. Like, I just described my life because I have 4 teenagers, 3 of them are girls, and 1 is at college, so okay, that one I get on the phone, but the rest of them, the other 2, are here. Listen, that puberty thing, we're doing the opposite. The ovaries are declining. We're losing our egg supply. Well, we've been losing it the whole time, but we are now noticing the hormonal changes that come with having less circulating hormones around. So we notice a lot of hormonal stuff. We notice that we feel our emotions can be all over the place. We might have the classic hot flashes, night sweats, difficulty staying asleep, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, can't go back to sleep for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Next thing you know, alarm's going off and you barely just got back to sleep. You used to hear that all the time. And that often goes with that anxiety thing, like you're worried about stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning that you can't do anything about, and you can't get back to sleep. Okay, what else? Other things like when the hormones are pretty low, you might notice things like vaginal dryness, pain with sex. That one, for sure. But that's usually a little bit later on. That's not usually in the beginning. What else? So I talked about some mood stuff, talked about some of the classic symptoms, all kinds of aches and pains. So plantar fasciitis, tendinitis, frozen shoulder, heart palpitations. You know how many women go to see a cardiologist because they're having all these crazy heart palpitations, and they get a Holter monitor where they wear this monitor for weeks, and then they go back and the cardiologist is like, nothing's wrong, the heart's great. $1 million workup, nothing. Not understanding we have estrogen receptors in all the tissues in our body. So we are definitely going to feel this. We've been decades with plenty of estrogen, up and down with our cycles. And now here we go into transition into not having that hormone around, and our bodies know it, okay? So I want to mention that to people, all these symptoms, because I had so many women who used to say to me, I just feel like I'm going crazy. Like, what is this? And I feel wild. Like, I don't feel like me. Nobody can tell me what's wrong with me. And everybody just says, yeah, this is part of getting old. So I want to give you another piece of information. It is true that menopause is a natural process. I mean, we are born as women with all of our eggs. That part is true. And we use them up over the course of our reproductive lives. And then our ovaries stop functioning for reproductive reasons. Now, when you go through menopause, you don't stop all hormone production. You do still have some hormones. Your testosterone level doesn't just fall off a cliff when you go into menopause. Your estrogen levels really do plummet, but you still have some hormones. It's just not what you're used to, and it makes you feel very different. Chrissy, I can't bring the kids are at school. I can't bring them. I'm taking my break before they come home, girl. Ooh-wee. So, where was I? See? Oh, brain fog. Huge, where you're like, I can't remember words, I can't remember names, I can't remember what I'm in the room for. I feel like I don't even know why I'm getting Alzheimer's. There's a lot of women who feel like maybe I'm getting early onset dementia. I'm going to tell you right now, women are 2/3 of the Alzheimer's and dementia diagnoses in this country. It is not unreasonable to be worried about your brain. As far as menopause and the menopausal transition is concerned, that brain fog stuff does get better. It does. Even if you don't do anything, even if you don't take hormones, it does get better. There is a multi-year process that your brain goes through of remodeling at this time. I'm gonna tell you this, and this I don't think this is a bad thing, but a lot of y'all will. Do you know the woman, Melanie, who does this We Do Not Care Club? Some of y'all know. She is hilarious. But that We Do Not Care, I'm in perimenopause, the stuff that I used to care about, like I don't care about anymore. I don't want to be bothered, and y'all can just kick rocks. If you want to do that, do it, but keep me out of it. Yeah, that right there. That is part of your brain remodeling. There is, your reproductive hormones allow you to have a certain level of accommodation to other people's needs. It's important when you have little babies and you're trying to, keep the family working and running and all that kind of stuff. That's what part of your willingness to take care of everybody and everything is your hormones. And when your hormones start to decline, that accommodation starts to decline as well. You just don't care. Just like, I don't, you know what? You can do you, and I'm not doing that anymore. I don't think that's a bad thing. I do think, we learn to be kind and to be gracious in the midst of it. And at the same time, there's just certain stuff that's just, not really gonna worry about that anymore. I need to focus on other things. There's this great book that I read, and it's not written for doctors, it's written for anybody. And it's called The Menopause Brain, written by a neuroscientist, Lisa Mosconi. Incredible book, but it talks about how women go through several hormonal transitions in their reproductive lives. Every time you have a baby, puberty and menopause. And so your brain remodels itself. I mean, it's so funny. We think about women as just slightly different versions of men, but the truth is men, and no shade to men, I love y'all. I'm married to one. I have a son. Men are great. But men are like, as far as humans are concerned, are more like a Honda. They're very normal. They, regular. They do what they're supposed to do, and they're consistent. Women are, I think, more like a Ferrari. Okay, maybe I'm biased. But we do these amazing high wire acts in our hormonal lives. Our brains remodel themselves when we go through puberty. Every single pregnancy we have, our brains get remodeled. You ever notice that when you had a baby, that you could hear that baby like through walls? If the baby was crying, into the other room, supersonic hearing, and your husband couldn't hear anything, slept through the whole thing, didn't, even flinch, baby screaming his head off. Even if the baby just rustled in the other room, I could feel like I could hear it. That's actually real. That's actually real. Where your brain turns up the volume on your hearing, on your attentiveness to this little helpless creature so that you keep it alive. Perimenopause is the same process going towards menopause, where your brain is remodeling. It's throwing away old neurons that are not needed anymore. It's dumping things. It's a messy process. It is, as you know, because you feel the brain fog, all that's going on, and your brain is changing. And so some of the things that were important don't seem as important anymore. Some of the things that you used to really focus on, your brain's like, nope, that's not important anymore. And your body is changing. Now, here's the thing about perimenopause. We have all this compassion for girls going through puberty, and we try to understand, we try to be kind and patient, and even though they're as aggravating as all get out. But here's the thing about perimenopause. It's puberty in reverse. Your hormones are dropping, your body is changing, your mind is changing, everything is happening, and you have a job often, or even if you are a stay-at-home mom, you got a job, you got things to do, you have your life to run, you usually have other people you're taking care of, whether it's your parents, your children, teenagers, partner, spouse. It's like trying to do puberty on a high wire. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's something. So, I think the most important thing that I wanted to get across in this conversation, and we're going to keep having it, I want to know, first of all, if you have questions. If there's stuff in particular you want to know about menopause, perimenopause, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned some of the symptoms so that you can not feel like you're crazy, especially if you have symptoms that don't seem to just be the typical, like just the hot flashes and the night sweats and the mood changes. If you notice you've been fine your whole life and all of a sudden you feel depressed, if you feel ready to divorce your husband and you're like, I really like him, but I really could be good without him. If you feel like you're having heart palpitations, frozen shoulder, all kinds of stuff, you're like, well, nobody is saying anything about hormones. And I want you to understand this could be part of it. If you're a woman between 35 and 50, maybe a little bit later, 55, and you're noticing a constellation of things happen, different symptoms showing up in your life, this is a conversation worth having. I want to help. I don't think there's enough doctors talking about this, and I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed more. I am a fan of menopausal hormone replacement therapy. No, it's not really. It's menopause hormone therapy now. It used to be hormone replacement therapy. That really is, that term has gone more to women who've had surgical menopause or, younger women who've had ovarian failure. But for the normal, everybody, millions and millions of women who are going through this menopausal transition right now, the new term is menopause hormone therapy. So I am a fan. I do not think everybody has to be on hormone therapy, but I do think everybody should know the truth about it, what's safe, what options there are, how to talk about it with their doctor. And if you decide not to do it, cool, that's totally fine. But I do feel like you should know about it, and you should not be in fear without information. I don't think you should be in fear anyway. I think you should have information. So if you have questions, if you're watching this on the replay, put questions out there. I want to know what you want to know so I can focus as I go forward in the future, because there's a lot to talk about. And I want to answer your questions and equip you to be able to go forward with your doctor or whoever you choose to sit down with to talk about this time of your life. I want you to get good care. I want you to get support at this point in your life, because this is possibly the first time for many of us super women who are like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I can't keep living like this. Like something's got to go. Something's got to change. Something's got to happen. I can't function like this anymore. And some of us are like, and I need some help. Who's going to help me? And the truth is, and most of us have figured this out, there's nobody coming to save us. We got to get in there and advocate for what we need. It is hard to do that without information. So that's why I want to talk about this stuff. If there's stuff that you all want to know about menopause, hormone therapy, perimenopause, you have questions, let's talk about it. I'm going to go back to these mushrooms right quick. So I'm still making this mushroom bacon. This is what my cut up mushrooms look like. They're supposed to be, I'm telling you right now, this is Tabitha Brown's recipe. You can get this all done in 10 minutes if you just sit down and look at her video. Totally cool. She's amazing. But what she does say is you're supposed to use cremini mushrooms, baby bellas. They look more like this. They're darker brown ones. I asked my husband to pick up some mushrooms when he was at the store the other day, and thank God, God bless him. I love him. I said, get baby bellas. I prefer organic. And he's like, they don't have very many. And so he brought me regular white mushrooms, which, okay, well, let's see how it turns out. I don't know. So what do you do with these mushrooms? I just got this. The other times I made this recipe, I use olive oil, and then I put garlic, like minced garlic in here because I didn't have this roasted garlic oil. This is a company called Emblem. I don't have any, what are those, sponsors or whatever? Whatever. Nobody's paying me to say any of this. All I know is this stuff smells amazing. And it's done by this woman named Chastity Pritchett. Like, female-owned, independent olive oil company. Anyway, smells amazing. This is her roasted garlic olive oil. So, what do? Drizzle the olive oil over the mushrooms. How much? Don't soak them because mushrooms will absorb, but you know, drizzle. You want a little oil on all of them. And then Tabitha used this all-purpose seasoning, like sweet, like smoky. Yeah? Okay. It is salt-free, so when you see me go ham on these mushrooms, I promise I'm not trying to give myself a stroke with a bunch of salt. It is, it's a very, it's got this smoky kind of sense to it, so it makes things taste kind of meaty. So it's got turbinado sugar, garlic, paprika, onion, smoke flavor, black pepper, yeast extract. I'm not a huge fan of yeast extract, but this works for my little mushroom bacon and the BLT that I am going to be eating. Sorry, this stuff is not the way I want it to. Okay, good, that's better. All right, so there's that. And then a little bit of salt. I get this truffle salt from my farm basket. So good. Just a little. Don't need a lot of salt. Because your mushrooms are going to absorb all this seasoning, and if you put too much salt, you will not be happy when you eat it because it's going to be concentrated. So there's that. And then she puts a little bit of maple syrup. Now, this is what happens when you have kids. I have bourbon barrel-aged artisan quality maple syrup, and you know what? They don't like it. It tastes too good. I don't know. I get them real maple syrup, but they want the basic stuff. Okay, wait. What are you saying over there, Nika? Oh yeah, girl. Okay, we gonna have to talk because yeah, the patches are probably easier, but listen, the gel works. I mean, you can do the top. You want it to go through the skin. That's like I said, a whole other conversation about how we give estrogen nowadays versus back in the day when the studies came out. The oral estrogen versus transdermal or going through the skin, whether it's a patch or a gel or a cream, whether you do testosterone and progesterone and what does it do, and who needs it versus who could just use it. There's nuances. There's a lot of information. But, Nika, I'm glad that you're getting your estradiol because especially after you've had surgery, it helps. It helps protect your bones. I think it helps protect your brain, heart. I have a terrible cardiac history in my family. My father had several heart attacks, pacemaker. His father died of sudden cardiac death. The number one killer of women post-menopause is heart disease. So, while we're all afraid, and we shouldn't be afraid, while we're all concerned about breast cancer, that is not the number one killer of women. It's heart disease. So what we eat, how we move, how much we sleep, and our hormones matter a lot. Okay, let's see about this maple syrup. I don't need sweet mushrooms, but I do want something that tastes a little bit like bacon. So we have like a maple bacon kind of situation going on here. Like I said, the last three times I made this recipe, I didn't use the syrup because I forgot. I mean, it just didn't even register in my brain when I was doing the recipe. They were delicious. All right, so shake, shaky. Stir it up. Mix. Now the way she did it, she had a nice container with a lid. I don't have one of those that's big enough, so we're doing it this way. So I'm mixing it, and then I'm gonna see, does it look like I want it to look? You should have seasoning on everything, and if you don't, you know, you kind of want to add a little bit more. I do and I don't. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more of this like sweet, like smoky. Because when she did it, it had a little more color. I can't tell if it's 100% because I need more seasoning, or I'm gonna be sorry later and it's just looking lighter because these are the white mushrooms and not the baby bellas. See, we'll just see how this works. I don't know. So the way she does this is she uses the dehydrator setting on her air fryer. And I have an air fryer, but I also have a dehydrator. I had the dehydrator first, and it's bigger, and I have a bigger surface to work with, so I'm gonna do that. But you can use it, you can do yours if you do these mushrooms in the dehydrator in the air fryer. The thing is, if you don't like mushrooms, I love mushrooms, but if you don't like mushrooms, usually it's because of the texture of the mushroom. If you put them in the dehydrator and basically dry them out, it changes the texture, makes them more chewy, and you really actually might like them. So, something to think about, okay? All right, so I think I'm gonna put just a little sprinkle more salt, just a little more, very little, because I didn't use much the first time, a little salt. And I think, smells good. Listen, this garlic olive oil, ooh, smells so good. Okay, so I've done my syrup, my seasoning, my smoky seasoning, a little bit of salt, garlic oil. Okay, now I just have this little tray that I'm gonna put for my dehydrator. Like I said, you can do it in your air fryer on the dehydrator button. All you do, according to her instructions, is 170 degrees for like 2 hours. Okay, that will get you dehydrated. That will not get you crispy. You want crispy, dehydrate them first, take some out, put them back in for like, I think she said 8 or 9 minutes on, air fry setting. And then once you get that, then you get crispy. So if you want crunchy kind of bacon, as opposed to this, which is going to give you salad topping or, put it in pasta or whatever you want to do that she says. Listen, mine didn't make it. Last time I did this, between making BLTs, and I think some of my kids got at it, they disappeared before I could do anything else with them. So, I don't know. Do you, whatever you like. I don't like a lot of pasta personally, just not my friend. Too much starch for me, but that's also one of those getting older, perimenopause, menopausal sort of things. I can't do lots of carbs like back in the day. I can't. I blow up like a puffer fish. It's not good for me. So, all right. I'm moving these mushrooms around. Try to give some space. If you do them in your small air fryer in the kitchen, you're probably not gonna get much space. She doesn't. She piles them all on top and doesn't seem to make much difference. But I'm trying to work with what I got over here. And I think that's gonna be good enough. Okay, so I'm gonna stick mine in my dehydrator. I'll come back this afternoon, look at them, and see where we're at. When they're ready, I'll pop back on and show you what they look like. Listen, if you don't have, I'm not a fan. I try to do everything organic when I can, but this, like sweet, like smoky stuff, come on, Tabitha. So good, so good. So I'll let you know if there's any difference in how they taste with the maple syrup, because if it doesn't make any difference, I won't put sugar on these in the future, because for what? I mean, why you put extra sugar if it doesn't make any difference in the taste? But I have a feeling this garlic oil about to be the truth. Oh, can't wait. Okay, so I'm gonna stick these in the dehydrator. Please let me know, especially if you're on the replay. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Dr. Andrea Christian Parks, board certified OBGYN, lifestyle medicine boarded, and a huge advocate for health and wellness. And we are talking about menopause. And today, as I made my little, mushroom bacon for my plant-based diet, I just wanted to talk about some of that stuff. I'm learning so many of the updates, so much of the data, so much of what women that I have heard for 20 years are going through, that we have got to do a better job in medicine of helping women make this transition. So if you missed stuff I was talking about, the symptoms, and I also want you to give me feedback. I need to know what you want to know first, because there's so much to talk about. If you don't tell me, I'm gonna pick, because I got my favorites, but I want to answer your questions. So if you guys have things you want to know about perimenopause, menopause, you know, hormone stuff, all that kind of stuff, please, 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 please let me know. Because I'll just pop on here and let you know. You know, I don't have no makeup. I didn't get ready for this. It don't take nothing. I'm ready to help folks out. All right, Anika, thank you. No, nobody talked about this in the past. Nobody, listen, I try to talk to my mother about some of this stuff. She just kind of got through it. We got to talk about vaginal estrogen. There's a lot to talk about. And so there's a whole lot more safety out there than I think people know. And listen, Nika, at 58, it ain't over. There's still a lot to talk about, and there's still a lot that can be done, you know, to optimize where you're at. And we're not done. That's the other thing. Menopause is not the end. We are not just old, put out to pasture. This is the chance we get to move into a whole new era of our lives. The era of wisdom, of leadership, of women who can create. We have experience. We have life experience. We have relationship experience. We have built friendships. And for a lot of us Gen X folk, like, we're just in a different place than a lot of the folks coming behind us, with, I think, being handicapped by some of the environment they've grown up in, with so much technology and all the social media stuff that's going on now. We actually are that bridge between when we didn't have any of that and now when we have arguably too much of it. So this can be a very exciting time in life. If you feel like trash and you can't get up in the morning and you just are dragging yourself through your day, you can't you'll get there eventually, but how well will you be when you get there? And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in aging well, in getting to my elder years with energy, with vitality, with strength, able to do. I'm not trying to age like the generation before us, where I'm watching, all they're doing is going to doctor's appointments and managing their meds and talking about their illnesses. I won't do that. I got other things I want to do I find much more interesting. And health is one of those things that as long as you have it, you often don't notice. But if you lose it, your whole life becomes about getting back, and it's so much easier to maintain, to get strong, to build health when you're not already sick. Reversing illness is a lot harder than staying healthy. And so some of us need to make some U-turns right about now. Okay, and I think perimenopause and menopause gets our attention. So I'm happy to support and help. Let me know what questions you have. Thank you for being here. I'll let y'all know about how these mushrooms come out, because I'm probably gonna have a BLT or BLM, bacon, lettuce, mushroom for dinner. Probably, I don't know. We'll see if they're done. But like I said, if you missed it, I did mushroom bacon, vegan mushroom bacon for this little live, and we're talking about perimenopause and menopause. I want to know, what do you want to know? Because we got to talk about all this, and we got to talk about hormones, and we got to talk about wellness, and we got to talk about how we age well. So let me know if you're watching this on the replay or you missed it. Jump on in and let me know. Okay, I'm gonna see y'all soon. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey y'all, I'm back. I just realized I didn't come back and show you what I said I was going to show you, which was these mushrooms. Okay, so yesterday, y'all, I was on here and we made dehydrated, basically it's Tabitha Brown's mushroom bacon recipe. So dehydrated the mushrooms, seasoned them up, and it was delicious, whatever. But I never showed you the final product, so I want to show you what we got. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Dr. Andrea Christian Parks. I'm a OBGYN, I am a coach, and lifestyle medicine boarded physician. So these are the mushrooms. They are so good. But what I realized when I was talking to y'all yesterday about, we were all talking about menopause, perimenopause, hormones, all the things. I was mentioning that I was making mushroom bacon because I went back to being plant-based. Now, I said I'm not militant, but I had a reason for it, and it does connect to menopause. So what was I talking about? I realized I didn't finish explaining that. So let me explain. Meanwhile, I'm making my mushroom, so MLT, my BLT, whatever. It's a BLT with mushroom bacon. So I got my bread, got my tomatoes, and lettuce, and my mushroom bacon, which I'm telling you, so good. Now, I put it in the dehydrator. If you do it the way I told you to do it, you're going to get kind of a flexible, bendy sort of bacon. But I left mine for a while. I just left. I had to go out and do some stuff. So mine's a little bit more crispy. If you want it crispy, you can put it in your air fryer under air fryer and then make it crispy, but it's good enough. Okay, and a little crispy. Not as crunchy as probably I would normally do, but I'm hungry. It's time to eat. So back to the menopause thing. So, you know what happened, I was saying yesterday, I have so many patients who used to come into the office and say, I don't know what's going on, doc. I hit 40, everything starts falling apart, everything hurts, everything's going, my health is declining, there's all this stuff happening, and I don't understand what just happened. And only answer they're getting from everybody is, well, I don't know, you're getting older. Yeah, and we are all getting older. That's true. But I don't think it gets explained. I don't think it gets really discussed that there are some significant changes that are happening in your body. So when your hormones start to decline, before your period, let me see. This is good, but it's spicy, and I'm gonna share the sandwich with my youngest, and she doesn't love spicy, so we'll skip that. Anyway, before your periods start to disappear, they might get weird, they might get heavy, might be skipping, different stuff happening. But before they really go away, your hormones are already changing. And you know that because you feel that, but if you check a lab test, it may not say that. It often doesn't say that because your hormones are changing so fast. I could check it one day, check it the next day, check it in the morning, check it in the evening, it'd be different numbers. So when I was in the office, I just didn't check labs for that, just to tell people that their hormones were a problem, because I couldn't. It would basically tell them, no, your hormones all normal. And then they're like, well, why do I feel crazy? I'm like, I can tell you why you feel crazy. I just can't prove it with lab tests. So all that being said, what does this have to do with being plant-based? Okay, so here's what happened to me. I had gone in for my annual, I'm pretty sure. And in that annual, I had my cholesterol checked and my A1C, which you should be having that done. So anyway, had all these things checked. And for the first time, my numbers were not good. Now, what in the background, what had been going on was, as we age, we lose muscle mass, and I was lifting weights, and I was trying to get more concentrated sources of protein. I don't eat huge quantities of food, and so I was like, let me go back to eating. I had been plant-based for like 5 years. Let me go back to eating some meat. I still don't really do dairy because I just don't care for it. But I was like, let me see what happens. Maybe this will help me build muscle. But I wanted to see what my cholesterol was doing, so I timed it. So I'd done about 6 months. I was eating more meat. So I go in and I get my cholesterol checked, and my cholesterol is like way higher than it had ever been. I was like, whoa. But then the part that really messed me up is my hemoglobin A1C was also up. Now, I don't play with hemoglobin A1C. My family has a very strong history of everything. Everybody black. We got hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, all of it, right? So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. I need to do some very serious changes quickly to get these numbers start going in the right way. Now, they're not going to just turn around. You got to do some work. But I was like, I already know how I can move some of this stuff. And I'll just go back to being plant-based. And my doctor said something interesting to me, which I thought, okay, what? She said, you know, some of this has to do with perimenopause, right? Like some of these numbers changes. It's not an official medical term, but it's this metabolic syndrome, which is it is a couple things, but it's your blood sugar management, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, like all this sort of stuff that's happening internally often starts to reveal itself in this phase of life. So I was like, okay, well, I can control what I put in my mouth. I can't fix 100% of the aging process, but I can definitely decide what I'm going to eat. So I went immediately, strictly back plant-based. And, you know, I had done it for so long, it's not like it was hard. I just changed some stuff up and went back to doing what I was doing before. I recognize that for most people, if you're starting out from the beginning and you're moving to be plant-based and you're used to eating a animal protein with every meal, not so easy. I get that. You know, it can be done, but I understand it's not easy. Anyway, I went back to being plant-based, and within 4 months, I think it was 3.5, 4 months, I dropped my total cholesterol 60 points. Now, that's not the full story. You still have to remember your LDL, your HDL, and the ratio, and triglycerides and all that kind of stuff. My triglycerides were fine, but my ratio wasn't where I wanted it. It will get there. And like I said, there's more to the conversation, but that's why I had gone back to being plant-based, because I wanted to start making some progress on my numbers. And so that's what I did. And I dropped my cholesterol. I lost some weight. I dropped my A1C from 5.9, which is the highest it's ever been, down to 5.1. Okay, well, there's one of my children. You know, I don't understand how all of a sudden it's like the middle of the semester and they're home.
We have a break in February.
Oh, they have a break in February. Why? I don't know. They got a spring break coming up. They haven't had spring break yet. Spring break is coming. Anyway, you messing up my whole situation right now.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving.
Okay. So anyway, that is why I shifted back to being plant-based, and we are making a mushroom, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. All right. So here's my mushrooms. See? Ah, so good. Anyway, if you want to see how I did it, you want to do it fast, look up Tabitha Brown and do her Tabitha Brown mushroom bacon video. It's like 10 minutes. You'll see how she does it. But if you want to see what I was talking about with making the mushrooms and menopause, perimenopause, hormones discussion, go see my live from yesterday. Anyway, this sandwich is going to be so good. I wanted it to be spicy, but I am going to share it with my 13-year-old, and she's not about as much of the spice as I am. So anyway, I want to show you what the sandwich looks like, and then I want you to make sure to comment, make little suggestions. What kind of stuff do you want to know about perimenopause, menopause, your health, your lifestyle, your well-being? What do you need to know? There's so much to talk about. It's not just hot flashes, night sweats. It's not just vaginal dryness. It's not, I'm sorry, it's so good. It's not just feeling off, although that's huge. That is huge. It is so much bigger than that. And there's heart palpitations and anxiety and depression, and all of it's hormone related. I mean, I'm not telling you every single thing that's going on for you is perimenopause, but it does impact everything. Frozen shoulder. How many people have gone to see an orthopedic surgeon? Nobody ever said anything about hormones, but they've got major orthopedic stuff going on. signing up for surgery and whatnot. I'll tell you, okay, one more story while I put this sandwich together and cut it up. It was fall of last year. No, fall of 24. I had this awful heel pain. I just like, it was get up in the middle of the night and hobble to the bathroom. Like, you know, that's the other thing. Getting up all night, over and over and over again through the night, going to the bathroom. I don't have time for that. Anyway, so I'm getting up multiple times a night and I have this pain in my heel so bad. I'm like hobbling like a little old lady going to the bathroom. And I said something to my chiropractor who said, well, I can refer you to physical therapy. So I get to physical therapy and they are used to dealing with older folks and folks who have more major injury, like surgical rehab and stuff like that. They have some big stuff. So they get me in there and they're like, oh, we're going to make her work. So I get in there and they want me to get on the treadmill and they want me to do all these agility exercises. They want me to do all this stuff. Let me show you the sandwich. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. So excited. So let me finish the story. So I'm doing all this stuff. They decide they want me to start running. Now, no shade against PT. Love PT. It was great. I got stronger. I was able to start running. I've never been a runner. Never. Started running, learned some stretches, learned some exercises, did a lot of things. And things were better. Not great. And, love insurance, right? Insurance basically at one point said, you're doing enough, you don't need any more PT. And even though I was paying for the vast majority, actually at the first of the year, I was paying 100% of the cost of the PT. Insurance was like, you can't go anymore. Kind of nonsense. Anyway, so I did all the exercises, kept doing my stretches, kept practicing at home, running, got new shoes. I mean, that was one of the best recommendations I got from the PT. Best kind of, running shoes to use. Had the best cushion and all that kind of stuff. Love them. I got Brooks Glycerin Max. Huge cushion sole, made all the difference with running. But fast forward, months later, last year, I started on menopause hormone therapy because I got to this place where I went, I'm waiting to start. I have never had where I said I'm not going to do hormone therapy. As a gynecologist, I have prescribed hormone therapy. I have talked to patients about hormone therapy, and I will take hormone therapy if I need it. But I kept waiting for myself to get so miserable that I couldn't function before I was going to start hormone therapy. And there were a couple things that happened where I said, "Wait, there's enough going on here that I just didn't recognize was related to being perimenopausal." And I went, what am I waiting for? So I started menopause hormone therapy. And I kid you not, even little twinges, little like achiness in my heel, it ended up being what it was a combination of Achilles tendonitis and plantar fasciitis is what I had in my left foot. I have none of that since starting hormones. All that itis, discomfort, pain, gone. I'm running. I'm still running. I'm still lifting. I'm still doing the things that I'm doing. I definitely stretch. I am 100% clear. I am 50 years old and I cannot just abuse myself. But not hobbling to the bathroom in the middle of the night anymore, like a little old lady, because of my itises. My itises are gone. And I just want to say that because it didn't occur to me as it was happening that this had anything. I mean, yes, okay, I'm getting older, but that hormone that I have hormone receptors in my tendons and my muscles and my bones. And of course I do. And of course you do. So that's where some of this stuff is coming from. Where you feel, I ache, I hurt, it's all falling apart. Why is my body not? Yeah, because you have estrogen receptors everywhere. And your estrogen is going off a cliff. And there you go. So I'm not telling everybody to be on hormones. I'm not selling hormones. I don't even see people in the office anymore, so I don't even write prescriptions for hormone therapy. But I'm just telling you my story because even as a gynecologist, I noticed certain things that have improved, many things. And you're going to hear all this noise because my son is home. Everybody's home. Everybody's home. Oh, I wish they were still in school. I love them, but they're loud. Anyway, hormones helped more than just night sweats, hot flashes, mood. It helps with a lot of things that you may be noticing that you don't know is related to perimenopause, to hormones dropping, to all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna take one bite of the sandwich because, why not? It's my mushroom, bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. Let me bite it first. That was good. That was really good. And I know there's nothing like real bacon, but that's pretty good substitute. That's so good. Anyway, y'all drop your comments in there. I need to know where to start. What do you want to talk about for menopause, questions about perimenopause? Do we just need to start with what is it? Like, we can start from that. And I'll put some stuff together for you guys because I just don't think enough people are talking about it. There's a whole generation of doctors who went through training in the last 20 years who, because of some of the older studies, which have been debunked, they didn't do hormones. They didn't get training. They don't prescribe hormones. They don't know how to talk about it. And a lot of women are going in and they're getting this, well, it's just you getting older. There's nothing we can do. Or, oh, you're depressed, you're moody. Here's a Prozac, here's a Zoloft, here's a drug for your mood. And there's other things that we could be doing. But you need to know what they are, what to ask for, and who to go see. So, let me know how I can help, how I can craft these videos for you, and we'll get more of this to help you out. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.